Kia ora, Lucy.
Kia ora.
Thank you for making time to be on the podcast today. It's a real privilege to be sitting alongside you, and I'm really keen to hear what you've got to say and learn a little bit more about your story. Now, obviously, I know you as a very valuable staff member, kaimahi, at Halswell Group, but I would love to know a little bit more about your story and your background. So can you tell me a little bit more about your journey and how you've ended up here and the person sitting next to me?
Well, seems like a lot's happened in the 21 years that I've been alive, but I guess I'll just start from the beginning.
Wherever you feel comfortable.
Sweet. I went to Halswell Primary. That was pretty good. Grew up with my mum and dad and my older sister in Halswell. It was pretty good years, I'd say, until I was like 10 or 11. And then my parents split up. That was a bit of a rough patch as like a 11-year-old, not really knowing how to navigate through that. I was a dancer as well, so that caused some like issues with like eating and like just body image and that kind of stuff, as well as like having some kind of control over what was going on in like my life with my parents and stuff.
What sort of dance were you doing?
I was doing like hip hop, ballet, jazz, contemporary, kind of everything really.
Jess was a dancer.
Yeah.
Well, she's still, once a dancer, always a dancer, right? So she's still a dancer. But I know she has shared with me some of the culture, some of the things that go on in that world, and a lot of it's pretty, not great around body image and eating disorders and all that sort of stuff. So you experienced a little bit of that, or you were around some of that?
Yeah, that was definitely quite prominent in my early years. And then like trying to leave primary school and go into intermediate at Villa was like a bit of a hard time as well. Just trying to navigate high school and like leaving my friends from Halswell when they were all staying there together, and like just finding my way in the world, I guess.
Those are hard years to navigate anyway, right? For anyone, let alone someone who's sort of in that world where you've got some of those other negative influences going on. Yeah. So you left Halswell. Primary school. Mum and Dad have gone their separate ways. Did you have to move between both homes, or did you sort of stay with one parent more than the other?
No, I stayed with my mum because my dad didn't have like a house. He was just like kind of couch surfing with my uncle for a few years, so didn't really see him too much.
How did you find that?
I'm
asking from a dad's point of view, because obviously I've got a young daughter who's about to kind of actually go through those similar years. Yeah. And I more and more think my influence, I think she really needs a dad around, eh? Yeah. So how did you find living with mum, not seeing dad as much?
Oh, it was pretty hard because me and my mum have always like butt heads pretty well. But yeah, I used to make an effort to see my dad whenever I could, and even if it was once a week, it was still better than nothing.
Yeah, and I'm sure mum was doing her very best. Yeah. It's not easy.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So you finished primary school, finished intermediate, you end up at, did you say Villa?
Yeah.
Villa Maria? Yeah. Tell me about high school. How was that?
Oh, yeah, it was interesting. I started in year 7 there, so I was like just freshly 12, I think. I met Chelsea. She was my first friend at Villa, and that kind of made things easier for me, having like a friend on the first day, just like getting into it.
Makes all the difference, eh?
Yeah, found out there was a good like Māori class there, met Whaiawhi, the kayako, she was pretty cool. That kind of like eased my first week into Villa. I stayed there for a year and a half until I got asked to do like dance full time. So then I left Villa and went to Southern Health School for like a year.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It was a bit of an interesting decision. Don't know if I would do it again, but I was quite passionate about dance. So I was like, I'll do that full time and do Southern Health School on the side. And that kind of worked for me, but I'm also like, I needed more hands-on learning as well as like the dancing side of it.
So what's Southern Health School? That's not the dance school?
Nah,
that's
so
something different.
It's just like school for people that kind of miss out on too much school, whether it's like sickness, Is it like correspondence, or do you actually go there? Nah, it's like bit of both. You can go into classes. I think I did 3 classes in like the actual school and then 2 classes online a week.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And you did that on the side while you actually focused on dance full time.
Yeah.
Where did you go to dance?
I went to Canterbury Ballet, which is where it was. But it was just mainly ballet focused, and I wasn't really too keen on that after like a year. So, went back to Villa eventually.
Okay, so found your way back to Villa sort of what, year 11? No, year 9, year 10?
Yeah,
I'm just trying to follow through the years.
Yeah. Oh, no, it was year 9 that I went back.
Okay. And then kind of got back into traditional schooling, I suppose. Yeah. Finished out high school there?
Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. I went to year 11 and then did my level 1 NCA and then left to just start working.
Okay. And been working ever since? Yeah. Good on you. And now you're with us.
Yeah.
How good. You mentioned Chelsea early on, and we'll talk about her later on. I know you also mentioned your dad early on, and I hope you don't mind me asking, but you have shared with me in the past that your dad's no longer around. Is that right?
Yeah.
He passed away?
Yeah.
How old were you when you lost your dad?
Just turned 18. So, like 2 years ago now.
Yeah, and you've just celebrated your 21st birthday.
Yeah.
Congratulations, by the way. I don't know what it is about 21, but apparently it's a big deal. Yeah. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was fun.
Awesome. I mean, I can imagine. Well, actually, I can't really imagine how hard it must have been to lose your dad at such a young and influential age. Can you tell me about how you've dealt with that and how you've coped with losing your dad at such a young age?
Well, I don't even know if there's really like one certain thing that I've like dealt with it or coped, but it just takes time, I guess. Like these last 2 years have been a roller coaster to say the least. I didn't think I'd even be here 2 years later to be talking about my dad's passing away. Like I didn't think I'd be able to make it through that like grief and like everything at the time, but I'm very grateful that I have because I've just, I don't know, a lot of therapy, a lot of talking about it, a lot of realising that there's nothing that's going to replace him or nothing that's going to be an easy fix to get over it. Like grief is something that I'll probably hold on to for the rest of my life, and it's just about navigating ways to get through it and like coping mechanisms that are actually healthy rather than like going to hurt me even more. But it's definitely a long road, and I've got a decent way to go yet. But I feel like he'd be proud of the steps that I've like put in place to be where I am today.
Did you have anyone that sort of stepped in and to hold your hand and kind of guide you through that process, or have you sort of had to navigate it yourself? How have you found the right way forward? How did you seek out therapy and talking to people and,
Well, I've definitely had a lot of good supports in like the mental health system. Because I was already like enrolled under the mental health system from when I was younger. So having that kind of helped after my dad passed away. They kind of like scooped me back up and was like, oh, this is like definitely going to be very hard for her. So we need to kind of like be all hands on deck. So I was enrolled with like Halswell. They were pretty helpful, like therapy once a week. They were just kind of trying to keep me alive, I guess. Really, that was their main goal at that stage, was just to keep me here. And we didn't really do any like therapy to work on me grieving dad. It was just more they wanted to keep me in a space where I was still here, so I
keep me safe,
like that kind of stuff.
It's nice to hear when the system actually works, because we hear so many stories of the system failing, and it does fail. I'm sure it's got a lot that it could still do better, but it is nice to hear that it, in your case anyway, it stepped in at the right time and was able to help keep you safe. It was unexpected, Your dad's he didn't die of an illness or anything like that. Well, that must have been shocking. How has your whānau coped with it? Did it bring you closer together, or has it put pressure on, or are you still kind of working through it?
I'd say Dad was probably like the glue to our family. So like he kind of kept everyone together. He kept like made sure we actually saw each other, made like an effort to like make plans with each other. And I guess, after he passed away, we kind of separated quite a bit. But then at the same time, like, we came together for like the important things, like selling his house and like getting rid of his clothes and like buying me a new house with his inheritance and like all the like financial stuff my like grandma and my uncle were really helpful with. It's just more like the emotional stuff. It was kind of like, I don't know, I felt a little bit in the dark and that my family kind of separated a wee bit. But I guess that happens. It's come together a little bit more now. But
that's awesome. And you know, everyone deals with those things in their own way.
Yeah, definitely.
So long as you can just leave that door open, I guess, and always welcome those people back into your life when they're ready or when you're ready, I suppose. Yeah. That's not the only tragic loss that you've experienced at such a young age. I know you mentioned Chelsea, your first friend at Villa. Fair to say she was your best friend?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I actually knew Chelsea through my mum. My mum was actually her kaiako, her teacher when she was at Hornby.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I remember learning of Chelsea passing away, and it was just tragic. We've talked a little bit about this kaupapa, this topic on the podcast before, whakamomori, suicide, and it's one of the darker sides of our society that I guess we all wish we didn't have to know about or didn't have to deal with, but most of us have had to deal with it more than we would have liked to. You obviously had to deal with your best friend taking her own life, besides the obvious, which is that it was sad and tough to deal with. How did you find that whole period of your life, losing your best friend in such a tragic way?
I think, like, just being so young, I was just so confused. Like, I had no idea what suicide even was, or, like, mental health, or, like, struggling like that. Like, when I was friends with Chelsea, like, you didn't really know that she was struggling. Like, if you looked at her, you would never be able to tell that she had, like, mental health issues or, like, stuff going on behind closed doors. But, after losing her, it kind of put into, like, perspective that not everyone's lives are, like, happy and that you don't really know what, like, goes on at home for some people. And, like, just her being 13 was, like, a massive shock. And it definitely opened my eyes to, like, a lot of things. And, I think that was the start of, like, me understanding my own mental health issues and, like, why I did stuff and getting into therapy and, like, being quite an advocate for, like, speaking up because, I've lost 4 more friends from suicide since then.
Really?
And, like, it's way more common than what it should be. And, it's just not spoken about enough, I don't think.
There's a few things. First of all, how often do we hear after someone's died by suicide, whānau, friends will come out and they basically say what you just said, which is, we had no idea.
Yeah.
He or she seemed happy on the outside. Yeah. That's such a common story. Mm-hmm. How do you, looking back on that now, how can we learn from that? What can we do when we're sitting with our friends, we're sitting with our whānau? What are some of the signs? It seems like the signs aren't that obvious, right? Yeah. So what have you learned from it? How do we make sure that we are checking in, asking the right questions regularly so that if there is something going on that's not so obvious, we can deal with it?
Honestly, I reckon just make the kōrero more, like, known, like, make it like you're just talking about going for a cup of tea. Yep. Make therapy a thing that is actually, like, not frowned upon. Make it just as easy as going to the doctors when you feel sick. Like, your mental health is just as important as your physical health. And, like, your friend should support you by saying, like, oh, do you want me to come to a therapy appointment with you? Or, like, do you want to go see someone? Should we, like, talk to a professional? Because it's too much for, like, a friend to handle on their own. If, like, you want to open up to your friends because, like, you can trust them and whatever, but it's too much for some young person to hold on to. Like, you're better off going to talk to a therapist or someone professional that can actually give you, like, the advice or, lead you in the right path where you need to go.
But I guess what you're saying is that even if you don't have all the answers, if you're a young person, or not even a young person, like even adults I don't feel like I've got all of the tools to be able to cope with something like that if a friend or a whānau member came to me. But what you're saying is that one thing that we can all do is we can support by taking them or walking alongside them and saying, hey, let's do it together and go and see someone. Yeah, go and see someone. Yeah, that's really good advice. The other thing that you talked about was that we don't talk about it enough, or it's such a taboo topic. It probably has its roots in, who knows why it's such a taboo topic. I know there are a lot of religions and stuff who really frown upon suicide, and different cultures and have different beliefs around it. But you're right, we don't talk about it enough. We sort of dance around it. Whenever there is a suicide in our community, the news doesn't say that. Every news article doesn't explicitly mention it, but there's always the warnings at the bottom. Do you think we've got it right, or do you think that's not working and we need to try something different?
Well, I think it's definitely talked about a little bit more now, like in the last 2-3 years, I'd say. But it's still not to the point where I guess it should be, or could be, hopefully one day, where it's like common to just speak up. Like if you don't feel okay, then speak up, and it shouldn't be something to be ashamed of. Do
you think people feel like they're going to burden their friends or their whānau if they do say something?
Well, I feel like that's quite a common thing in like suicidal people, because you feel like a burden to everyone. And you feel like if you do say something, everyone's just going to like look down on you more, hate you more, instead of being like, no, I need to speak up, because if I lose my life, they're going to be way more upset than the burden that it would have put on them if I did open up to them.
It's easy to say that in hindsight, eh? I feel like so many people they're in such a dark place that they just think that it's I'm very hesitant to say the easy way out, because that's not the right words, but they just feel like they've got no other option, which is a really, really sad thing. You mentioned earlier on that obviously you're a massive mental health advocate, and even in our interview when we sat down and interviewed you for your job at Joe's, you mentioned that. So it's a big part of who you are. And you said that your mental health is just as important as your physical health. That brings me to my next question, which is that I know physical health is something that you're really, really focusing on now. Clearly, there was a period of your life where you really focused on your mental health, but now it seems that physical health has become really prominent in your life. What's driving that? Like, why are you so passionate about physical health now? And tell me about it.
Well, I'd say I've always been kind of growing up in a sporty family. Like, my dad was always real sporty with karate, boxing, like skiing, all that kind of stuff. My sister's the same with powerlifting. She's done trampolining, like cycling, everything.
You've got a real mix.
It's always been a bit like, physical exercise has always been something that I've known and loved. But I think boxing especially, that's like come from my dad. Used to watch him like do boxing fights when I was younger, and like come to a few classes with him, just like, I don't know, have fun, run around, hit the bag a bit. But as I've gotten older, it's like definitely the one thing that I think has like helped me the most out of everything is like physical exercise for my mental health, like getting out of bed, going to do something that makes me feel good, that isn't hurting myself, but it's also giving me that same feeling of like pain, like no pain, no gain kind of thing. Like you need the pain to be able to feel like, wow, I've just done something. And it's like good. It makes you feel better afterwards. You feel like you've achieved something.
There's definitely growth in pain, eh? Like everywhere you look, even at the gym, working out, going through pain. In order to get fitter, you have to, work hard, get your lungs working, get your blood pumping. In order to get stronger, you have to lift heavy weights or do exercises that are going to, I guess, put your muscles under pressure, and that's when the real growth happens, going through those painful moments. Martial arts, how have you found fighting? Like, that's just a whole nother level of fitness, right?
Yeah, it was definitely a shock. So I didn't actually have my first proper fight until 2 months after my dad passed away. And I was like, oh, I'll just get in the ring for him. Like, I had a lot of pent-up anger from him dying. So I was like, oh, like, it'll be fine. We'll just get in the ring. Like, didn't really have any kind of clue what I was doing. Did my first fight, and that really put in perspective, like, how hard it is to actually, like, get yourself in the ring. Like, you can be fit, you can be strong, like, it doesn't matter. As soon as you step in that ring, it's a mental game.
Yep.
And if you're not mentally in the right space, then you've just lost it all as soon as you step in there, basically. So, yeah, that was not my finest moment, but it's definitely taught me a lot.
Have you got back in the ring since?
Yeah.
Yeah, and is it something that you're going to keep doing? Or?
Yeah, I definitely enjoy it. Like, as long as you're, like, in the right mindset and you're just kind of in it to have fun, in it to, like, do it for yourself, then, yeah, I reckon it's definitely worth it. And it's something that I'll definitely do again.
Yeah. So what sort of training are you enjoying at the moment? Like, have you ever gone back to dancing, or just kind of parked that for now?
No, I've done a little bit with Joe, actually. We've done
Joe McClutchy?
Yeah.
Yep, cool.
Done a few groove classes at City Fitness and, like, a little bit like that. It's been fun to get back into it a wee bit.
Yeah.
But no, other than that, not really.
You had your press-up challenge lately. Did you come up with that, or did someone else come up with that and you just jumped on?
Yeah, I saw it on someone's, like, Facebook, and I was like, oh, that's a cool thing to do.
So what was the challenge?
25 push-ups for 25 days for suicide prevention.
And you did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it one night.
Yeah,
at the Crusaders game. Was it Crusaders or the Warriors? One of those
Crusaders,
games. Yep, during the break.
Yeah.
Cool, good job. And are you working towards any fitness goals at the moment?
Well, I was meant to have a fight in August, but I think I might push it back a little bit to either the end of this year or start of next year.
Okay.
Just so I have a wee bit more time to, like, prepare myself.
Yeah.
But, yeah, just mainly training, just boxing training at the moment.
Fair enough. Cool. Another thing I was really keen to talk to you about was more to do with your personal journey to learn te reo Māori. It's something that, you told me a couple of months ago now, I think. You sort of just said, hey, look, I'm really keen to learn a little bit more. You obviously did a little bit at Villa, is that right? Did you do any growing up? Did you learn any reo growing up at Halswell or in whānau environments?
Yeah, Dad definitely, like, tried to teach us a wee bit. He didn't, like, he wasn't fluent, but he knew a decent amount and would, like, put the Māori subtitles on the TV.
Yeah.
And, like,
Oh, shot Dad.
Yeah.
But clearly now you're an adult. There's some sort of desire to, I guess, reconnect with your taha Māori, with your reo. Where do you reckon that comes from, and why does it mean so much to you to want to learn more about your culture and your language?
I think it's just because, like, at Halswell, like, I did kapa haka and stuff. I knew that I had, like, some kind of Māori blood somewhere, but didn't really know, like, where I, like, whakapapa back to. And I think as soon as I went to Villa and, like, kind of found out more about, like, my whānau and, like, everything like that, that kind of made me more, like, drawn towards it. And I always felt like a connection towards, like, Māori culture and stuff, but I didn't really know why or, like, why I felt so drawn towards it. And then, when I found out that I had, like, whānau that were Māori, I was like, oh, like, that kind of makes sense, yeah. So now I've just, been trying to learn as much as I can. Might hopefully go do, like, my Māori course next year. And then when I have my own tamariki one day, put them in kohanga, kura kaupapa.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Teach them from when they're young.
Good on you. I'm interested to know, because I've talked to a lot of people, friends of mine, who similar story growing up. Maybe it sounds like you weren't actually super aware of your taha Māori until maybe you're a little bit older, but grow up knowing that they were Māori, but didn't necessarily have the ability to be able to connect with their reo or their culture from a really young age. I'm interested to know, first of all, were you aware that you were Māori when you were growing up? And if so, did you see it as a positive thing or a negative thing? Was it something that you kind of put to the back and didn't lean into, or have you always been proud to be Māori?
I'd say I probably found out when I was, like, 10.
Okay.
Maybe, 10 or 11. And, I was proud but I was also like so unsure because I like had blonde hair when I was younger. Like
You used to have blonde hair?
yeah,
For real?
yeah. Like fair skin,
Yeah.
like green eyes. Everyone looked at me and they're like, "You're definitely not Māori." And I was like, front row in kapa haka of my little taonga, and like people were probably just looking at me like, "Who is this white girl?" But I guess I was always just proud to have something that like I'd always felt connected to, and then being like, like that makes sense. So yeah, I was always like at Villa, rocking around wearing my pounamu, like in Māori class, like I just
That's
always
cool.
felt at home,
Yeah, because I know a lot of people, they grow up, they know they're Māori, but maybe, they've got influences in their whānau or in their community who have told them that being Māori is a bad thing. And so, for whatever reason, we've all got our own biases. And so, it's something that they've never been proud of. They've known that they're Māori, but they've always almost suppressed it and leaned into, maybe their Pākehā side or their other whakapapa. But it was never you? Once you knew, you were like, it all makes sense now.
Yeah, well, me and my sister were like that, and then my kuya, she was always a bit like, being Māori is not like a good thing, because she obviously got raised in that like generation where it was kind of like if like being Māori is bad, and like
I have a lot of empathy. I have a lot of empathy and a lot of aroha for that generation, because in their case, being Māori meant the connection with being Māori or speaking Māori meant often getting hit at school, being treated unfairly by their teachers, and just generally by society. So for them, if that's your lived experience, you're like, well, so tell me why it's a good thing. I get hit for it. People treat me like shit for it. Like, tell me why it's a good thing. So I do have a lot of aroha and a lot of empathy for that generation. I think the new generation that's coming through, man, they're going to be powerful. Your tamariki? Damn. So what are you doing at the moment to, I guess, explore that side and learn? Are you just kind of out there trying to learn as much as you can, soak it all up?
Yeah, basically. I've got all the apps that I can possibly download, and then, just waiting to start a course, basically.
And you're working in the right place?
Yeah.
Hey?
Yeah, it's great.
Cool. Got anything that you're excited about at the moment? You got any big goals that you're working towards, or anything that's getting you excited?
I'm quite excited to start studying.
Yep.
Haven't been in kind of education for a few years now, so it'll be good to get back into something.
And what are you going to study?
Personal training. So I want to be like a boxing coach, hopefully one day.
Yeah.
Help younger generations.
You think fitness is, do you think when you say you want to be a boxing coach to help younger generations, what do you mean by that? How are you going to use boxing to help the next generation?
Well, I kind of just want to put into play that physical health can help mental health so much. And I know that people probably already know that, but that would be my main goal. I'd love to open up a gym and it'd be I don't know, have time to have a kōrero beforehand, and then you go and smash a bag to let out whatever you just talked about, and then just let it out, and then walk out the door feeling better afterwards, and just have that kind of goal of you walk in feeling one way and walk out feeling another way.
I don't know if people do know that. I think people who have, clearly you do, and I've had a taste of that as well. I know that if I don't have some sort of physical exercise, then I often feel frustrated for the day, or things are just tough all day. But immediately, if I'm having a shit day, going and doing 10 or 15 minutes of hard out exercise, all those endorphins start flowing, and immediately it changes your whole ahua, your whole way. So I understand it. I don't know if everyone understands how important it is to do physical activity. And even when you start to do it, you sleep better, which means that you think better the next day.
Yeah, it makes you want to eat better.
Yep, the whole lot. Yeah, it's massive. Recently, since we've talked a lot about mental health today and now physical health, recently I was talking to, actually, Carl, who comes into Joe's. He was talking about social health, which is something that I hadn't really heard of much. We talk a lot about physical health and mental health, but social health, and it's connected to a lot of what we've discussed today already, but the importance of surrounding ourselves and having good social circles. What do you do to keep your your social health healthy? Because I think a lot of us, we think social networking and connecting with people online is social health, but I don't think anything can really replace surrounding yourself with people that have got your back and that you want to be around. What do you do for that? Is it important or not?
Yeah, definitely. I think in the last year, after losing my best friend again to suicide, that was real hard for me because she was like my main person. Like, I didn't really have people I hung out with every day. Like, it would just always be her. So after she passed, it was hard to like navigate like I obviously have friends that I would still hang out with occasionally, but it was just kind of not really people I was close with. So after she passed away, it was kind of hard to find like a group of people that I could like hang out with or like, yeah, go get my social networking, whatever. Yeah. But no, I think my primary school friends showed up for me a lot after that, and that kind of showed like who the true people are. And, yeah, and they're in the rough times, so that's been real good. Now I've got like a group of like 5 girls that have been there for me since I was like a kid, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's great.
I think that's definitely important for me to hang out with them. That's helped me grow a lot in the last year, having them.
So just to be clear, you've lost not just Chelsea, but another really, really good friend.
Yeah.
To suicide.
Yeah, last year.
All right.
Yeah, that was a big shock, especially after losing Dad. But yeah, that's what it is.
What's your message to people? You know, I mean, you've dealt with an unreasonable amount of loss and suicide in your life already. You've only just turned 21. If there are people watching or listening who are they don't necessarily have to be in a dark place, because I think there's things for all of us to learn, even if we're in good places. What's the one thing that we all need to do better, do you think?
Just like look out for each other, because you never know what someone's going through. Like, yeah, just be kind, like make someone's day, even if you're having a bad day. Like, little things could make someone's day or turn someone's like life around, basically. Like, someone could be on the edge and you do one kind thing for them and that just changes their whole mind, and then they're here for another year or another, like the rest of their lives. Like, I've myself have been at that point, and yeah, there's been like a lot of people that have done even the smallest things for me that's made me realize there's like still good in the world, still like hope, a reason to stay.
What's helped you to turn that around? You sort of just mentioned that you've been at a point where you've been really, really low.
Yeah.
What's helped you to turn that around to a place where now, certainly from the outside, and I should ask, how are you doing? But it looks like on the outside that you're doing much better.
Yeah.
What do you credit that to?
Well, for me, it was like turning my pain into purpose. So I had so much like pain in my mind that I just want to make myself physically feel pain, and that's also when exercise came in, because that was like, yeah, like a good way of like feeling pain without.
It's positive pain.
Yeah, positive pain.
Rather than something that's actually gonna
hurt myself
hurt you
or whatever. Yeah, but no, I think just I never used to believe the thing that like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I used to roll my eyes whenever anyone would say that to me. But now I'm like, yeah, she just got to hold on, like be grateful for the small things, be grateful for like literally anything. The fact that the sun's came out, or that there's flowers, or like the beach, that you can go for a swim. Like, just be grateful for the little things that you have and write those things down. I've got like this Māori gratitude journal, and I write in it every single morning and night, just to like remind myself that I am grateful to be alive, and like grateful for all the little things around me, despite all the negative things that have happened. Because I could hold on to all that. I could be like, no, I'm not grateful that the sun's come out today because I've lost all these people that don't get to be here for it. But no, you just got to hold on to the little things and just realize, yes, these bad things have happened, but that can form who I am, that can like shape me for the future, and my story can help other people one day, hopefully. And
Well, I think your story today has definitely helped a lot of people. I'm sure it will. People that watch will be inspired, and I think sad as well. But also, you're a great example of how you can turn pain into purpose. I love that. And I thought it was really interesting how you talked about when you're at that moment, at your lowest, you just wanted to create pain for yourself, but trying to find a way to channel that pain into something that was actually going to help you. Fitness is really, I think that's really practical advice, because there's no use in telling someone who's at their lowest, be happy, because that's actually the last thing they want to hear. Telling them, actually, if you want to hurt yourself, here are some ways that you can go and hurt yourself, but it actually is beneficial. Do some press ups, go for a run, do something that's going to hurt you, but that actually is going to benefit you in the long term. If you must. So I think that's really good advice. Thank you, Lucy, for being so open, being so honest. It's really not easy at all to sit in front of a camera and to talk to your boss about this sort of stuff, but I really admire your bravery and your honesty. You're a beautiful young wahine, and I just know that you've got so much potential in you. Constantly people come up to us and they tell us what amazing service you give them. It's been a real privilege to watch your growth since, because how long have you been at Hustle now?
Just over a year.
Just over a year. And now learning today what was going on a year ago, to see the growth is massive. So keep being you. Keep doing the things that seem to be helping, because from my perspective they are definitely helping, and it's just up and up and up from here, eh? But thank you very much. Anything else you want to share before we wrap this up?
No, I think that's all.
No.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for making time. Really appreciate it. Ngā mihi.
Tēnā koe.